Good evening, wanderers who love AmaWaterways. Yes, that's you. Thank you for coming tonight. If you're not one who loves AmaWaterways, hopefully you will. But you know what? I'm gonna give you till the end of the month. We got this, the first or the second, I believe. This would be the first. I'm sorry, the first broadcast of the new year for wanderers who love AmaWaterways. Break for the holiday, the new year, and last week, and we're back at it. We're back at it, and we're going to be talking about exciting things this year and the updates that AmaWaterways has for you. There are new things that came out on the horizon. We won't be getting into them tonight, but that'll be for next week. And as usual, they're giving away some exciting promotions, some exciting bonuses, freebies, and things like that. So we will be pressed to put you in a position where you can learn all about that and take advantage of it. And tonight, what I'd like to do is, first of all, I'm going to find out if you can hear me because I'm not sure you can. So give me 1 second and let me check something to make sure you can hear me because I did turn the volume down so that there wouldn't be any echoes or anything like that. So let me check on my phone because you can hear, but I just turned up the volume just to check real quick, and I don't hear myself coming through the broadcast. So I'm going to keep talking here, and I'm going to jump on where you're at to see if you're hearing what I have to say because we do want. Okay, so it is working. Yeah, it's working. It's just not for whatever reason. My when I turn the speaker off here, I think my browser or something is set on mute. But I just checked it with my phone, and I could indeed hear that you guys could hear me loud and clear. That's what we want. So now I can kick back just a little because I wanted to do that. I'm going to be as relaxed as I can tonight. I may move this microphone. I may not. I'm not sure. But I want to talk about, AmaWaterways is a 23-year-old company based in Calabasas, California. They're all about luxury river cruising in Africa, Egypt, Far East, Colombia, and Europe. We are going back, my wife and I, this year to one of those places. It's going to be either Europe, the Far East, or slim chance it may be Colombia, just because there's a lot of turmoil right now in the Caribbean. But they specialize in luxury river cruise experiences that you will remember a lifetime, that you can discuss with your grandkids and share with those family members that travel with you. Awesome, awesome, awesome experiences. We went back in August of this year. We had a sailing that was from the 9th of August until the 16th. We were in France about 10 days total. We stayed extra days. We actually were in Paris for 2 extra days. So we got that experience, having first time gone to Europe where I actually stayed in Europe. Because I've flown through Europe several times with the military, but never got a chance to visit Germany or London or any of the places that I went through, or Brussels, Belgium, places like that. We did go to Italy. I'm sorry. I take that back. We went to Italy a few years back, and that was awesome. No less than this was awesome. The history, the culture, the architecture, everything about it, the museums, the sights, the sounds, the gardens that we saw, the orchards. We didn't go to the orchards, but they're everywhere. But wine is a big part of that experience if you desired to look into that. But we did the round trip France from Paris to Normandy. So we spent a day in each port along the Seine River, small villages along the river. And we were up in the Normandy region a couple of days. We went to Le Havre and went to Normandy Beach. Then on the way back, we stopped in Vernon. So we were able to see the south sights in Vernon. And excuse me, we also visited Roen, or Roen, however you say it in France. French. I don't speak French, but you guys get the idea. Anyways, we were there and we experienced, and I'm going to tell you, it was a grand time. We really enjoyed ourselves. And some of these pictures that I'll show you, you will see that Sophia and I thoroughly enjoyed it, and you can see that just a relaxed look on our face. We were so relaxed and we enjoyed it tremendously. But anyway, I'm going to get right into it. What I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to show you uh, some of the sights that we saw uh, as we were going through the country. You know, I'll show you the photos and try to give you a real solid background on what you're seeing. We were in Paris, like I said, a day. So why don't we start with that? Because we spent the day just jogging around the city and taking a look at things. So I'm going to try to go in somewhat of an order here as I talk about these things. Some of these photos in my Paris folder are for when we got back to Paris at the end of the cruise. But initially, after we got into our hotel and everything and spent a good night's sleep, the next or that evening, actually we got some rest, but we went out that evening and we saw the Eiffel Tower. So in the daytime, this is what it looked like as we were walking past it, approaching the restaurant where we had dinner. Very nice restaurant. I was not disappointed with any French restaurant I visited while I was over there. They were all excellent. And obviously our first one was only a few blocks away from the Eiffel Tower. So there you have it. As we saw the views, there's our table and our ornament. There was a table ornament or table setting. It was there. A view of me with the window. That's the window. We're inside the restaurant. So Paris is behind me as we're sitting there just totally enjoying ourselves and just admiring the views and just sitting back and relaxing. And you'll see the look on our faces. You see nothing but smiles. When you go on vacation, you should smile, right? So that's what we did. We smiled a lot. We talked a lot. We connected a lot. There's my lovely wife, Sophia. Didn't mean to go so quick. That's my lovely wife, Sophia Stapleton. So we blessed France, Paris specifically, with our presence. There's a model of the Eiffel Tower there, followed by a picture of me standing on the river, on a bridge, overlooking the Eiffel Tower as it starts to light up in the background. One thing about these lights, if I don't tell you later, is that on the hour for about 5 minutes, the Eiffel Tower twinkles, and it's on a timer, obviously. So people line up in the different areas throughout Paris to see that. That's a big highlight of their trip to the tower. And as you can see now, we're quite close. We were walking up to the tower, and as we were getting closer, your jitterbug guy was snapping pictures. Now, this picture here is just one of the pictures we saw when we were up on the tower, looking out over the city. I'm not sure if in the middle here, I don't know if you can see in the middle, there's a ship right there. I don't know if that was our ship or if it was just a ship that was on the Seine River. But just so you know, there are a lot of riverboats that occupy the Seine, as well as every other river that AmaWaterways traverses. Here's another view, different views of the city. I believe that's Notre Dame right there from a high level. There's Ferris wheel over there. These buildings are part of the Louvre complex, I believe, the Louvre. Another shot of me standing under that massive structure. One thing I want to say about the Eiffel Tower, there's the picture I'm looking for. That brown paint took a year to do on the entire structure. They have, I think, 300 workers paint by hand and brush. No rollers. So I really, really thought that was very interesting to learn that. And they paint it quite often. They choose different colors based on the theme they want it to be for that decade or that time period that they're celebrating. So yeah. But it's a big part of France's independence. Another shot of me and my lovely wife there. And big part of who they are. And worldwide, it's a symbol that everybody recognizes. A few more shots of the Seine River here. This is actually the last day we were in Paris when we stayed over and we had breakfast. We were walking through the city, and we were walking to where we had breakfast. This picture here was actually taken. We were docked in Paris the last night Thursday night. Actually, it wasn't the last night. Thursday night when we got back, they docked. That's another boat behind us that does not move. It's a restaurant. Uh, and we had our anniversary dinner. As you see, this cake says happy anniversary here. 35th anniversary for me and my wife. Our dear friends in the background. I met this young lady and her doctor husband. She's actually a travel agent. So small world. Well, there were a few of us on the ship. So, but we ended up having dinner together. It was a very nice experience. Very nice dinner. There's a look at the outside of the gangplank or whatever you want to call it. There's another ship in front of ours here because they dock side by side for space reasons. So I forget the name of the company, but there was another company ship that we actually walked through to get to ours. So that was an interesting fact. Here's some streets that are in central Paris, not very far. Actually, we were walking toward the Louvre from our last night hotel. This neighborhood is in the Prime Minister's residence neighborhood. Um, this picture here that you see with the green scooter and these barricades in the back, I believe that's the backside of the street, maybe a few blocks away from the front side of the Prime Minister's residence. But I do have photos. This is like the main entrance to his residence. And I wondered at first why this cop was standing there early in the morning. But when I came back, there were two cops right here. And there were another two vehicles down here to the entrance of the Prime Minister's residence. At the time, I didn't know that that was his residence. But I since learned that I was only a block and a half away from where he lived. So that's pretty special. That's part of his property there, the courtyard. As we walked by there, I took these photos and said, gee whiz, who lives here? Who's got this immaculate, uh, landscaping and such? They got money, whoever that is. Let's put something in the chat real quick just to say hi, everybody. So there, that's why it's the Prime Minister's residence. That's why it's so immaculately kept. As you can see, there's not a speck of dirt on the ground, no plastic, no paper, no nothing. Just cleanliness. This picture here is across from the Louvre Museum, which is over here, part of it. I was just snapping pictures as we were walking, and now we're at the Louvre itself. We didn't go inside the Louvre, but we just went there to kind of walk around and see what was up. When we found out it was like almost $100 per person to get in, we said, no, that's okay. We'll just look around. So these shots are all that where we were just walking around, enjoying the sights after we had breakfast. Again, this was our last day, so we were just kind of taking it in. There's the Louvre, taking it in and walking around the mall and things like that before we had to leave to get our flight to go back. And this this was an underground mall that they had not far from the Louvre across the street. It might have been the night before we left because, again, we spent an extra night in Paris due to our plane getting canceled due to a strike by Air Canada. So we had the benefit of looking around a little bit more, and that's how we got where we got. Now, this picture is the opposite of that other pyramid picture. It's crazy. It goes underground like that. But if I go back, it'll show you that picture, which is the opposite. Very interesting how they had that set up. But again, we did not pay the nearly $100 fee to go inside the Louvre. We bypassed that. A couple other pictures of the underground mall and my wife in the field outside that area. Very beautiful, as you can see in France. Very well kept, very beautiful. This is an item on the KFC menu in France that we don't have over here. The Ton Plus Gros Souvenir de Vaccines. It's a double Kentucky burger with look like a lot of barbecue sauce and just double Whopper, double layered here, cheese, and whew, I wouldn't mind sinking my teeth into that. Here's our breakfast the last morning. As you can see, we're all Francais. Oui, oui. We're having our orange juice and croissants and our espresso. Breakfast of champions. Eric's got my AmaWaterways hat on with the gold logo in the blue. My wife got a scarf. They give you that as part of your journey. More shots of the restaurant, Le Brasserie. My wife's posing. And me, of course. I had to get in on it. Got my passport on, ready to go. Everything's locked and locked in. This is another view of the Eiffel Tower as we're traveling through the city. The Champs-Élysées with the Arc de Triomphe. And for that folder, that's all the photos I have for that. So now we're going to look at a different one as I indulge your patience. Let's look at Notre Dame. Obviously, this was a phenomenal experience for us, being able to visit Notre Dame. You see the cranes in the background. It's still under construction, but a lot has been done in a scope of 3 years to get it back up and running and really, really show the world that they could do it. That was part of the reason why they wanted to do that. And secondly, it's a beautiful structure. That you don't hear it, but the music was blasting in that courtyard. Normally, this is filled up with people, but it just wasn't that many people in the city at that time of the year because that is August is when all the Parisians go on vacation to the beach and places like that. So this is just some more photos of Notre Dame as it's being worked on and constructed. As you see, the cranes are there. This is the inside. It was packed. There was a mass going on because it was during the week of the Feast of the Ascension. So it was packed with folks. I couldn't even get up to where the minister was speaking, but these people are listening to mass. So get out of that one. We'll go look at another folder. We'll go to Les Andelys. Les Andelys was, the reason why it's Les Andelys with an S on the end, because Andel is a form of numbers and S means plural, so it's more than one. So there was two Les Andelys. One that was heavily bombed by the war and had to be rebuilt. The other one was hardly touched. So as we look through these pictures, you may see some evidence of that. King Lionheart built that structure that you see in the middle. We'll take a bigger shot, bigger picture, a bigger view of it in a second. But I want you to meet somebody that we met on the ship. She was one of our guests. She was our wellness host. This is Kim Fields. Yes, she is the Kim Fields of Facts of Life fame. And she has her own television show. I forget the name of it, but she's the producer of that show. Very successful show. We got the opportunity to spend time with her, talk with her, ask her questions about her wellness company, and really just ham it up with her. But this is an image of inside the ship when they were giving roses out to the guests. Amadante was the name of the ship. One of our friends from Canada, sharing her life with us, and her sister next to her. My wife is seated right here. As we were taking a picture, this is the main dining room. As you see at the windows, you are really close to the water. Another shot of the dining room. A shot of Les Andelys coming southbound. This was after we came back. We passed it, and I wanted to get another shot of it for historical and memory purposes. This is the chateau that we visited that was built by Lionheart. That one of these further pictures on here, you're going to see a little bit closer. And it was a fortress that was developed for the defense of the city. Now, this picture here is me on a bike ride. I did ride a bike, as I hadn't ridden in 20 years, but they do provide bikes for you. You have to wear a helmet, yes. But those bike tours, I took the tour, which took us up to the chateau. And here's a better picture of the chateau. You can see that a lot of it is ruined. This was all grand and built up over several centuries, and then it just was abandoned at one point and started to decay. This walkway here, you could walk up to it when it was open to go inside, but it was not open, so we just got the history of it. Unfortunately, this area, the civilians that were not part of the army that was defending it when it was attacked were forced down into the ravine to the right, and they starved to death. Many of them starved to death because the nobles, the royalty, they didn't care about the local people. They built this thing here, and they had people living here. But then when it got bad, they got nervous and they sent the people down into the ravine to starve to death. Here's some shots from riding through the city, Les Andelys. A lot of this here is the built-up, remodeled. You might see some old and new brick here, where they repaired some of the buildings that were damaged by World War II bombs. And This is an original building, as you can tell. A lot of churches in France. They're everywhere, almost every corner. And a lot of them, of course, had the steeples where the Germans were shooting down at the Allies and causing us a lot of problems in World War II. Dinner table. As you can see, we were eating good. Kind of a collage there. There's an outside view of the ship. There's granite rock formation that was on the shore. These were everywhere as you're going down the river. So I took some pictures of those. I don't know if I kept them all, but this is one of the ones I do have. Mocktail of the day. If you don't drink alcohol, there's always a mocktail that you can get. And it's as long as the bar is open, it's unlimited. More of the desserts and food, or the French countryside of the folks that live along the river. The river is very important for transportation, for commerce, and all of that. So a lot of your cities or your towns were built up right off the river. There's another picture of us hanging out with Kim Fields, the lovely Kim Fields. So as you can see, we're very pleased to have the opportunity to do that. Okay, so what are we going to look at now? I think something interesting. I have a lot of things I can show you. Let me zip right through Monet's gardens real quick, and I'll take you over to Roen, which is a very fine church that exists. It's another Notre Dame or Roen, not the Roen. There's several Notre Dames throughout France. But these are pictures that you see of Monet's gardens. Yes, the artist Monet. We went to his house in Vernon, France, and we were able to tour his house and his gardens. And all of this property at different points was purchased by him from the French government because he wanted to just paint. He just believed in painting the same landscapes over and over again, the same landscapes. And many of these paintings or these images were turned into paintings, or he painted what you see here, and the paintings were sold for a lot of money. In this town, he had the largest house, obviously, a very grand house, very upscale amenities, the kitchen and everything. These are all his gardens. He would paint these gardens and sell the paintings. And he bought this land specifically for that purpose. His family, his mother and father, thought that he wouldn't be successful as a painter. And obviously, he proved all of them wrong, proved everybody wrong, and became the famous painter that we know. So, the great Monet. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Just very serene, very relaxing as you're walking through. There's his house. As I said, one of the largest, most opulent residences, if not the largest, in the town of Vernon. So that's a painting of his house from his garden that was sold and can still be purchased. More of his gardens from the house window. Same here, my wife, overlooking the gardens. This is the kitchen. This kitchen is bigger than some folks' houses. That's the dining room. There's the kitchen with the old-fashioned stove. Very opulent for its day. Very rich. So, as you can see, a lot of history. We're going to go back to, I told you we're going to look at Rouen. I want to show you Rouen. I might buzz through Normandy if we get a chance. Well, we will. It's a little bit long today, but we'll buzz through Normandy first to give you an idea of what that looked like. And I didn't get some of the pictures I took. Oh, they're in here. I thought they disappeared. Of the cemetery. They're here. But I'll take you through. I can't remember whose marker this is, but there are a lot of markers, and I didn't get the audio to go with it. So obviously these are all images of the World War II cemetery in Normandy, which was very moving for me. I was able to tour it, brought back a lot of feelings related to my military service and those who gave the greatest sacrifice. The greatest generation gave the greatest sacrifice for us all. That's our tour guide pointing out something. She's pointing toward the graves, which are all back here in white. Yeah, it was a very moving experience. Here she is again. This is the youngest soldier that died in the war. I think he was 25 years old. And his portrait was placed there to honor his life, his legacy. We actually had a doctor during this tour that she placed a wreath during the ceremony they had to honor those that are fallen. And I think they do that ceremony once a week. Anyways, this is Normandy Beach from the bluffs. Actually, this is further up the ocean or the channel in a town where I was able to overlook and got that great shot. There's a lot of remnants of gun positions and things that were there that were protecting the harbor. The Germans had them set up. They were formidable. More shots of the cemetery itself. As you can see, just like Arlington, Normandy American Cemetery, American Battle Monuments Commission. Still exists today. They maintain the cemeteries. One of the temporary bridge pieces that they used when they landed on the beaches of Normandy. If you look high up in the bluffs, you can't really see it here, but way up in the bluffs here, I think it's right up in here where my mouse is pointing. I believe it's in here, or definitely right here, or right here in the middle. If you can see my mouse on the screen, I don't know if you can, but up toward the top center, there's two dark areas. Okay, you see my mouse. Right here, I'm going to go back and forth, are two squares, windows. Those windows were bunkers. So you'll see me standing on the bridge, or excuse me, on the beach in a bit here in Normandy, where the soldiers had to, you'll kind of get an idea of the distance they had to get out of the water, get to the beach, get up past the beach onto land, and then they had to go all the way up these hills, the top of them, to go around them to take out those bunkers. And as these other buildings weren't here, this is modern, very modern now. There are a lot of people that build homes here, multi-million-dollar homes, and they're enjoying the view of the beach, and it's a tragedy. But all this is overgrown. But these were original German bunkers. That's the beach where you can see the guys being dragged up. They're doing the best they can to get from the beach that is down here. And this, all this wasn't here, obviously, the built up area, but this is the original site of the first American cemetery, right off the beach, before that land was donated so that we could bury our soldiers. Very moving experience to see that. This is Normandy Beach itself with the monument. As you can see, that water is high. It was high tide that day. I did not go down there because as I'm dressed, I'm not thinking about getting any water, and I wasn't taking my shoes off. Could have, but I said, no, that's all right. Another view of one of the parts of the monument here. It has inscriptions on it, as you can read, honoring the soldiers, sailors, Marines that gave their life. Another inscription here. I can't quite make it out on the photo. The forces landing on this sovereign they call Omaha Beach, liberated Europe, 1944, June 6th. I'm not sure what this says up here. Hard to make it out, but it's Omaha Beach, liberation. But anyways, as you can see, if you have any kind of affinity or understanding of the World War II, this would have definitely given you a good idea of what it was about. Up here is another one of the bunkers. You can see it up close. Excuse me. The concrete is still remaining, even though it's overgrown. One of the machine gun bunkers that was giving us all kind of heartache when we were trying to capture that beach. This hotel has been here a long time. You can actually stay here. It's somewhat overrated out here and kind of expensive, but it's on the beach. So people, if they want to be on the beach at Normandy and say they stayed there, you can actually stay in that hotel, and there's a restaurant there. Here's one of the steeples I talked about. It is attached to a church as we were traveling through the Normandy area. This particular one has been rebuilt. Many of these were used by snipers to shoot at us. And I think there was one in here too. I think that was one of the ones they pointed out. One in particular they did, but I'm not sure if that exactly was the one. These are different shots of the towns as we were driving away on our tour bus as they were taking us through. These are gun emplacements further up on the coast of the English Channel, where, you know, the Germans just had these guns up there, and they had planned to defend Normandy Beach But as you can see, there's a piece of it standing right there. A lot of this is just ruined because we blew the bunkers out of them. We really took it to them when we got to them, and we destroyed these places. Uh, you'll see one of these shots, I think up close, there's a far away, where you can see the damage. You can kind of see it here, the damage to the gun. It's one of the guns that was operating. I had an up close picture, but there was people in here operating this gun, shooting down on us as we were, they were expecting us to come invade France this way. We didn't come quite up this far, but we did eventually get here, and we lit them up. As my wife would say, nuke them till they glow. Now, this is a shot of Le Havre, which is another port very close to Normandy, which we did take that visit stop as well. Gives you a good idea of what, you start walking around inside these small villages, what they look like. That's a museum where you can show, they'll go in and show you a video about this area. This port city, Le Havre, still has remnants of these pieces out here are remnants of the landing beach this landing beach is this right here. They bought quite a lot of supplies in for us after we landed on Normandy to support World War II, to support the advance to France. If it had not been for these landing beaches that were built, I don't know if we would have been as successful as we were. Another view of that harbor, very beautiful. As you can see, it gets a lot of visits. Le Havre. So, we're going to go back to Roen. I want to share Roen with you before we call it quits tonight. I did have a couple more, but it is 6:35 and it's getting late. I don't want to go too long tonight. But Roen is a city along the river, and I'll take you through these pictures, just different pictures throughout the area as I'm walking through on a walking tour. And we actually did another part of the tour by bus. It took us to another section, and you'll see my wife and I enjoying that. It was a village chateau that we visited in the afternoon. This was a morning walk. This is the Notre Dame of Rouen. As you can see, it's under construction. It's several centuries old. But look at the detail, guys. Look at all these carvings and handmade concrete sculpting on the building. I mean, from a distance, it looked like a painting, but it's not. That's the actual building that I took a photo of. There you go, a little bit closer. And you can see how intricate it is. And over the centuries, you can see different types of concrete here or cement. That's because as the technology improved and as construction capabilities progressed, they were able to use different materials. I don't know if we got a better shot. Maybe this one will show. But what would happen is it would get more and more elaborate the higher you go up. If we go back to that first picture, look how elaborate the top is versus how base the lower sections are. As time went on, they just got better and better at building stuff and carving. Look how intricate this is at the top. I mean, to be able to build something like that today, I know they're repairing it, but it probably wouldn't be affordable for most countries. But they believed in spending the money back then. I love this shot. I love the way that the Notre Dame Cathedral there in the background blurred out when I took the photo. I did not intend that to happen, but the way the light hit it is awesome. I love it. And the outfit wasn't bad that I was wearing either. Had my Hoban Knights baseball cap on and my Under Armour polo. I was looking good, y'all. I was looking French good. We wanted to dress the part. This building right here, I don't remember who lived there or what company was there, but it was pretty remarkable. They did discuss it. I don't remember. I didn't record everything they said, but these windows, you can't see it, but there's projectors all throughout these windows. They have a light show and sound show they run at night with video that tell the story of the liberation and some things like that related to the war. Awesome experience. I had another posting months ago on the page. You can look for it with the light show. that displays on the cathedral that you just saw, this cathedral. And this is the inside of it. Got to go inside and walk around, and they don't have a lot of services there currently, but you can see how grandiose it is. Look at those stained glass windows, guys. Oh, just gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. So that's why I talk about my trip all the time. This place has several chapels within the cathedral itself. That's what all these were for. Uh, I can't forget this because there's so many images and memories and things that I saw. This is Joan of Arc, the Joan of Arc that was burned at the stake. And I have the actual picture of the place where they burned her at the stake. She was burned because they thought she was a witch. In actuality, she probably was more of a saint than anything else. But that is Joan of Arc being captured and getting ready to be executed. More images inside the cathedral. They used to have actual remains in these, but not anymore. Or the stained glass windows ornate work, something you'd never see in the United States. Another shot of me standing outside of the cathedral. These are a few other shots of Roen, the cathedral from a distance, walking through the city. This clock that you see here does not work, but it's centuries old and it is famous. It was a it was a astronomical clock. At one time it did work, but it doesn't work now. It's stuck on the time that it is. But they have a computer to ring the bells on the hour uh, to give you realism. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful surroundings. There is the site where Joan of Arc was burned at the stake. This is a church. They do have services here, but they actually did burn her right here. That young lady right there, I believe she's pointing a picture at the actual spot, the stake. This is not the stake, I don't think. It may have been a different view, but this is another angle of the area right around there. Uh, Different shots of the buildings. This is actually a picture of this one here with my wife in the foreground is a picture of the chateau that we visited further up the coast from Vernon. Very unique chateau. It was a community farm. The folks that owned it were rich, and they still are because you can stay there as a bed and breakfast. You can rent it for like $3.50 a night. Uh, the folks that owned this place would let the townsmen and women come in and work the farm to sustain themselves. They had different things that they made here. I mean, they made sugar cane. They worked with corn, different grains. Up here was where the stable kept the guy that kept the stable slept. That's an actual bed. This is a stable. It had animals in it. Had to be pretty stinky, but he had to sleep up there. But they were glad to have a job. I don't remember what this machine was used for, but it's something with farming. All of these pictures are on the farm and the horse stables and everything that they use. It's still a working farm, but uh, they don't use it as much as they did back then. This is like an ox uh, device for herding ox or having them do the work, the heavy work. Some type of grinding device for the grain or the sugar or meal or whatever they were. I forget what they were telling us they were making, but he explained how it worked, and it might have been even grapes or wine. I can't remember. It's been a while, guys. I have to go again, I guess. This is a chapel on the grounds of the estate. Very old. Seats about 25 people. People have had weddings here, and they've taken pictures in that outside. Just a little chapel. So they do. It's very, very small, but it can be rented for that. Very quaint. So we're out and about in France. Uh, there's a bigger picture or a larger background picture of the chateau as we were arriving or leaving. This is the kitchen where they do have dinners here occasionally, and they invite people in to pay a fee, and they actually use the kitchen. You can rent this bedroom. You can stay here for $350 a night. Very large, very rich place. You see the different rooms. Okay. All right. Let me go back to our main page here. The soulful experience that you see in the middle here, I just popped it open. I'm not in a hurry. It's not that many pictures. We took a black experience cruise in Paris. And this was not part of AmaWaterways. This is something that I booked outside of their normal program, researched it, paid for it, and all that. This young man here with the hat on is our tour guide. This is a restaurant where we ate at the beginning of the tour. This restaurant is where Richard Wright and James Baldwin would meet and would have discussions about everything in life. The two famous authors, until they fell out. Once they fell out, they never spoke with each other again. But we ate at this restaurant. It was very good. Les Deux Maggots, Les Deux Magots. That's how you pronounce it, Les Deux Magots. And it's a very famous restaurant. As you can see, very crowded. We had just gotten there in the morning of our tour. This was an all-day tour. There's our tour guide taking us through the different African-American culturally important areas of Paris. I think it was the 13th and 14th arrondissement, which are neighborhoods where African Americans made the most impact. This is a view of James Baldwin's house from across the street, his actual home where he lived. I'm sorry, Richard Wright. I was afraid I made a mistake. It's Richard Wright. Richard Wright's home. That's a picture of his home. Yeah, the author we talked about. This is a shot I took of the subway because this Strasbourg Saint Denis station here, I have a very dear musician that passed away a few years ago who wrote a song called Strasbourg Saint Denis, and it was based on that subway stop. Yeah, Roy Hargrove, the trumpeter. You can look him up. Roy Hargrove, Strasbourg Saint Denis. Very good song that he wrote. Yeah, I had to get that. That was obviously the metro train station or the train itself as we were riding it. Josephine Baker was a big part of this area of France. She had a nightclub, or they call it a music hall, cabaret. Very successful to a certain point until it eventually, long before her death, it didn't survive as a business at one point. Economic woes, and I think she went through some legal troubles and things like that. So that's what you have here. Shout out Josephine Baker's place, and that's from across the street looking at her nightclub as he's explaining to us about Josephine Baker. So, guys, that is our trip to France that went from round trip Paris to Normandy. And good times, man. Good times. We really, 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 really enjoyed ourselves. We're going back somewhere this year on another AmaWaterways cruise. I'm not sure by the end of this month or the first of next month, I'm going to pick the location because I have to wait on my daughter's school schedule so we can figure out which one we can take that'll line up with us. So I'm not going to get into the promotions. We'll save that for next week. What's new for this year? We'll talk about what's new for 2026 for promotions. If you're interested in getting started with any bookings on a river cruise, I'd like to invite you to reach out to me at Stapleton Direct Travel. The best way to reach me is by calling 330-328-3205. My email address is Steven7867@ameritech.net, as you see it on the screen. That's Steven7867@AMERITECH.net. And my website is listed, AmaWaterways.com/agent/Stapleton Direct Travel. AmaWaterways.com/agent/Stapleton Direct Travel. You can go there and read all about the cruises, the countries they visit, the itineraries, the stops, everything. You can look up pricing And if you're interested, all I ask is that you contact me through the website. You can click and it'll send me an email automatically, or you can call me, or you can manually send me an email. But again, I invite you to go ahead and reach out if you'd like to figure out how you can get yourself on one of these wonderful river cruises. And I'll run the card one more time just so you can see how to contact me. And if you have any questions, want more information, reach out, guys. Thank you for coming tonight. It's been a long one, but I appreciate having you. You're the reason why I do this, because I want you to have the best vacation experience of your life. So thanks for coming. We will see you next week. Have a